I think each and every day we're faced with a decision. In almost every interaction, really. Do I want to be right or do I want to make a difference? Being right is really easy. You lay it out for the world to see on Twitter, X, Facebook, Instagram, right? On a blog post, an op-ed, in the media, whatever. And you just announce to the world how right you are and how wrong somebody else is. And the goal is only to display how brilliant and how correct you think you are. If you don't agree with me, you're some combination of crazy, stupid, and evil. Making a difference is truly accomplishing things. It's sharing action. It's actually getting what you want. Making a difference requires a lot of intentionality, and it's satisfying not just once, but time and time and time again, because you form a relationship with somebody. Some of the folks that were the most persuasive. JFK, he said, ask not. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream. Ronald Reagan saw America as a shining city. Bill Clinton, he felt people's pain. Empathy right there. Empathy, empathy, empathy. Barack Obama was all about hope and change. And even Donald Trump, what did the hat say? Make America great again. He's for something, right? He's for making America great again. Now, does he deploy negativity? Totally. Do I think negativity to deploy by him or anybody else? Is that something that I would recommend? Well, I would really recommend positivity. Then it begs the question, what kinds of feelings are persuasive and how do you generate those feelings? You go to Fox News, MSNBC, whatever, and the answer is super obvious. What kinds of feelings are persuasive? Negative feelings. When I was writing the introduction to that chapter, I went to the websites of those two news organizations and I found literally one story that was positive on like 200 stories total on both homepages. That's wild. We're also wired with something that is called negativity bias. We focus on, we're attuned to, we're much more mindful of negative information. It's a threat sensor, which it makes sense. The problem is that being negative impedes our ability to thrive, even though it helps us survive. We are wired to have 6, maybe 7 moral tastes. They are care, so like sensitivity to suffering and caring for others, equality or equity, equal outcomes, proportionality, which is about merit and hard work and what you deserve, loyalty, in-group, out-group, authority, essentially how sensitive you are to hierarchies, purity, kind of like sanctity versus like degradation, and then liberty, basically being free to live as you see fit. People of different political persuasions tend on average to be sensitive to different moral tastes. So folks on the left are more sensitive to care and harm and a certain kind of liberty called positive liberty. Conservatives are sensitive to proportionality, loyalty, authority, purity, and a sort of negative kind of liberty being freedom from restrictions. Libertarians have an even narrower palette, which is just proportionality and liberty. Yeah, but people who don't think like me, their values are wrong. It turns out though that actually 30 to 60% of our morals are wired into us genetically, and they know this through studies of twins. People can check the citations because this is one of the things that's always incendiary. So what that means is that when you're a free marketeer talking to a progressive, you need to frame things in progressive terms. Occupational licensing is a government permission slip to work in a particular industry. My policy objective is to reduce these unfair burdens on people. So if I'm talking to somebody on the left versus somebody on the right, I'm going to frame the exact same recommendation differently. If I'm talking to somebody on the left, I'm going to say that these restrictions are, wait for it, they are inequitable. They're inequitable. And that they hurt, that's care language, they hurt the people they're meant to help. Right? They hurt the poor and they hurt minorities. Then here comes the logic, right? So I'm generating feelings, negative feelings. Oh my God, that's inequitable. Ugh, yuck. How do we know this? Well, because data from the Federal Reserve of Minneapolis show that Blacks and Hispanics are disproportionately hurt by occupational licensing. It's a huge gap in the data. Like there's like many percentage points. So it's a big gap. So actually by definition, it's inequitable, which means that I can authentically say that. I'm not being inauthentic. There are data to support the claim, okay? If I'm going to talk to a conservative or libertarian about reducing occupational licensing burdens, I'm going to focus on proportionality and freedom, how people should be free to enter the professions that they want to enter, that if they work hard and they do quality work, they ought to be allowed to compete in that space. And if they do good work, then people will come. And if they don't, then they won't, and that's okay. And that's the beauty of the market. So it's the exact same recommendation, reduce restrictions. It's framed in a different way. We could rinse and repeat that with any number of policies. We just kind of, because we're trained to be so quote unquote logical and follow the data, we think that like logic is one thing and like it's us. And that's not true. So if you could instead understand how your audience thinks and frame things in their terms, even though it's the same data, it's wait a minute, you want me to like think like somebody who sees the world totally differently? And I think in the policy space, academics tend to think, but that's the wrong way to see things. And again, a lot of it's just wiring. It's just wiring. So the logical thing to do is to ignore that. So it's trying to understand them. And the very first chapter of the book, it's called Put Them First. And I think that the foundational rule of persuasion is that it's about them, not you.